Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and today I'm doing a book haul. So these are all the books basically that I have gotten since my last book haul, which I think was in early November. It's quite a large stack basically because I found some really good used book websites where I can go shopping since my very cheap book buying habit has been made more difficult since library sales aren't a thing. This is mostly thanks to Ella from Ella's Novellas, as she has done a series of haul videos where she reviews different online booksellers, which have been really helpful to me. So some of these I got from Better World Books, which she has talked about, and I also have gotten quite a few from the charity stores that are in my area. I also won one in a giveaway and got some passed on from relatives. So let's get started. First, a charity shop book called The Lady Grace Mysteries Assassin by Grace Cavendish, maid of honor to Queen Elizabeth I, so I assume that's a pen name. And so this is a series of, I think, children's books based on the pen name and the length of the books that is set in Queen Elizabeth's court. And I'm very interested in Queen Elizabeth I, also the second, but in this case the first. She did a lot of horrible things in the Protestant Catholic wars. That was just my cat going out my cat door really quickly. So she's much more of an interesting person than a person I admire, but there were a lot of court intrigues during her time, and so lots of fuel for writing books about. Then we have The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and the synopsis makes me think that is a little bit along the lines of the Da Vinci Code, because it talks about all of these minds like Plato, Galileo, Beethoven, Edison, Einstein, some of whom, in my opinion, are totally different categories of brilliant, but all like understood the secret, and all this, the secret is like all through a bunch of different writings. And I just really like the cover and like the squareness of it and the type of paper that it's printed on that's supposed to look weathered and stuff. I thought that might be a fun and interesting read. And another from the charity shops is Dragon Moon by Carol Wilkinson, and I really like dragons. I really like middle grade, which this appears to be. And this is actually the first in the series, which sometimes it's hard to find the first book of a series in a charity shop. So I have a lot of second books that are just wasting away on my shelves because I haven't gotten around to requesting the first book in the series from the library. And just having a first book sitting around, I'm much more likely to pick it up. Then we have a group that I got from Better World Books, and they are ones that I have already read, so I was willing to pay a little bit more for them since I knew what I was getting. So most of these were $4, whereas the ones I got from the charity shops were more like $2. And one of those is Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I read this summer and absolutely adored. I love the chronic pain and fibromyalgia rep. I love the adorable romance. I love that there is a cat. And I also really like her relationship with her sisters. So I'm really excited to now be able to reread this at my leisure. Then we have The Perfect Assassin, which I read, I think, during ASPEC August. And it's an old library copy, but I really liked the ace rep in this, and also the really interesting world building in a desert with people who live on like pole cities above the desert with ancient technology they don't understand. That was all really interesting. The assassin world building wasn't so great, but it's really hard to do assassin world building where the assassins are genuinely good people. Most people who involve assassins need to go the morally gray route, but I don't mind that so much because I do like the whole assassin thing. Plus it's such a big world that has been built that I really feel like there's a lot of room for the books that come after this in the series. So I'm really happy to have this. There are some portions I would really like to reread, plus it will be a good way to be able to jump off into the second book and maybe be able to remind myself of some things in case I forget. Then Sing Sweet Nightingale, which I haven't yet read, but comes highly recommended. It was a long time ago that it got highly recommended, but I think it's an ace rep thing, so I was willing to take a chance on it. Then Garden Spells, which I talked about in my October wrap-up. I loved it so much. I read the sequel in November. I loved that one so much as well, but this one specifically is even closer to my heart, and I definitely want to read a lot of pieces of this. It is a really cozy witchy story with a very soft magic system that works different for everybody. And there's a lot of baking magic involved, and garden magic, and knowing where you belong magic, and even hair magic, and that was just so cool to me, as well as being heavily about female characters and their relationships with each other, lots of sisterhood and found family stuff. Then the bell jar actually got passed on to me from my aunt and uncle, who were gathering up a bunch of books they didn't want anymore to go to charity or to relatives who wanted them, and I picked out the bell jar because it comes very highly recommended from Kiara the Scrivener. She says it was really impactful to her in her thoughts about mental health, and that she related to a lot of the things in it. So it's a bit dark for me, so I think I'm gonna read it really slowly and only when I'm in a good place, but I think it will be a very powerful story for me as well. And this is from 1971, and I would like to read more books that are from pre-1990. Then we have Vicious, which I got in a giveaway from Nicole Pierman, so thank you, Nicole. She was giving out 3 different books you could choose from, and I chose Vicious because I had heard that it had ace rep and that a lot of ace people really liked it. It's the first in the series. Apparently, the premise is that the main character, who is the ace character, is also like a villain, and there's like archetypes like villain and heroes, and he's like technically a bad guy, but he's more like a anti-villain, and you want to root for him. So I think that would be a really interesting experience. And so when I saw this one, A Darker Shade of Magic, in a charity shop, and it was a really, you know, cool looking edition with a little ribbon marker, I thought I'll pick that up and then I'll have 2 in case I really get into V.E. Schwab from reading this. I have heard that, especially from Kara of Wild Book Garden, that V.E. Schwab has a bad time with her female characters being not like other girls and looking down on feminine women. So I'm gonna be very aware of that going in and watching for it. And I don't think Vicious is one of the ones that Kara has read. I hope that this particular book has less of that, because I would really like to enjoy another ace book. But if I'm aware of that going in, I think that will help, and also help, like, if I see it, I'm gonna wonder, will this get better later, and will she like undo this in future books? Knowing from Kara that probably not, because that's just how she writes. So I'm going to try it out, and if I like it, I will then possibly try this one out, but I will be watching for that. Then this one I got from Better World Books because I was looking for Wild Magic by Anne-Marie Mclemore, and not a lot of used versions of that are available because it's a fairly new book. That kind of vibe, or at least a different type of vibe, but from somebody who wrote really good like that. And so I picked When the Moon Was Ours, and it's fantasy, and I think it's middle grade, so that bodes well. And then River Marked by Patricia Briggs, also from Better World Books, and there are lots of editions of Patricia Briggs' work in used form because they're fairly old, and I really like all of the relationships in these books. This is a paranormal mystery series with some romance on the side, lots of found family with werewolf packs and vampire friends and fae friends, which fae are basically all the magical beasts that aren't either werewolves or vampires, and I find the relationships really precious and the magical mysteries really fun. Then we have A Conspiracy of Bones by Kathy Reichs, and I have been wanting to get my hands on a book by Kathy Reichs for quite a while because I really love the series Bones, which is based on her books. It says at the bottom, a Temperance Brennan novel. And in the show, Dr. Brennan is very much coded as a autistic person socially and mentally, but without the health problems and sensory sensitivities. So like, not perfect, but I really do enjoy her awkwardness and her deep focus on what she's interested in. And so I'd really like to get to know the book version of that character and see if I like her and her coworkers as well, because Bones is one of the series that I most love the characters of, and the relationships between the characters. They're very special to me, and it's one of the few Star Trek-ish team dynamics that I found outside of Star Trek. My favorite Star Treks are the 3 that came out in the 90s, Next Gen, DS9, and Voyager, and they all have very strong loyalty, kindness, make each other laugh, but still complex and dynamic relationships between the bridge crews. And a lot of shows don't quite reach that level, but I feel like on Bones they really do. And so I really love that dynamic and would like to see if it is also in the books. And then we have The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. So there is a movie called Practical Magic that I really love. It's with Sandra Bullock, who I also really love a lot of her movies. But I really love the vibes and the types of witches in that book and all the wonderful, really strong relationships between women. And so there was a book before there was a movie, and this book is written by the same author. So I figured that another fantasy by her would be something I would really enjoy. And the reason I got this specifically is because Book of the Month had this thing where you would pay $5 for your first book, and that's a pretty good deal. It's only $1 more than my Better World Books books, and it's going to be in better condition because it's brand new. So I thought, I'll do that, and you get to pick whichever book from their backlog they have if you don't like the current 5 books. So this was available, and right now I'm skipping because I don't like any of the new Book of the Months enough to pay $15 for them, which is the normal price. But I might get some new hardbacks that way, but only if I'm really excited for them, because I don't usually want to pay that much for a book I haven't tried out and know is really good yet. But that was my big old book haul. I had a lot of fun getting these, and I'm going to have a lot of fun figuring out where on my bookshelves I want to put them. If you guys have read any of these, I would love to know your thoughts, or if you're excited to know about any of them. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about something orange or a flower? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!